So I thought I'd do a video detailing some of Little St James, Jeffrey Epstein's Pedophile Island. Now, most of you don't know this, but it isn't the only island that Jeffrey Epstein bought. He also owns Greater St James, but we'll get into that a bit later. But as for now, let's have a look at Little St James. In 1998, for $7.95 million, Epstein purchased Little St James Island, which was situated between the larger St Thomas and St John's Islands. After buying the 72-acre body of land, Epstein outfitted the island with towering palm trees, multiple buildings and a helicopter pad. The main residence and compound occupies the northeast point, and a pair of guest houses occupied the northwest and southeast points. The southwest point, however, features a very different kind of building. Though not many details have been reported about the interior of the main residence, a former employee said that Epstein had two offices, which no one but the maid was allowed to enter, where he kept security boxes. A former IT contractor who worked for Epstein from 1999 through to 2005 also shed light on what was to be found inside Epstein's residence: countless photos of nude women. There were photos of topless women everywhere, contractor Steve Scully told ABC News. On his desk, in his office, in his bedroom. The Jewish Temple. The base is painted with broad, vivid blue horizontal stripes and supports a large golden dome. The entrance consists of an arched, seemingly wooden door equipped with black metal hardware. The sides appear to be cut with large windows, including a full-length one in the rear. In 2017, hurricanes blew the top of the dome off, and all the statues were removed. The front is flanked by statues painted in gold. One of them appears to be the trident-wielding Poseidon, the Greek god of the sea, while two others look like birds perched on the corners of the roof. It is surrounded by a line of palm trees and a terrace with a labyrinth motif. Finally, the exterior seems to incorporate an optical illusion to create the impression that the exterior windows and door are set within the carved flanges. It strongly resembles a temple, though of what sort remains elusive. Epstein is Jewish, and it is possible he wanted his own private synagogue. But the sanctuary would be out of place at such a temple, given the Old Testament's prohibition on graven images. Though the cubic base and dome called to mind Islamic architecture. Poseidon would likewise be an odd choice for the mosque. Churches, of course, tend to feature crosses. A construction worker who worked on the island who wanted to remain anonymous remarked, "When he was there, it was keep to yourself and do your thing," the man recalled, adding that Epstein paid well and would give away older machinery and surplus, including lumber, to his employees. Epstein built a stone mansion with cream-coloured walls and a bright turquoise roof, surrounded by several other structures, including the maids' quarters and a massive, square-shaped white building on one end of the island. Workers told each other it was a music room fitted with a grand piano and acoustic walls. Its gold dome flew off during the deadly 2017 hurricane season. Locals recalled seeing Epstein's black helicopter flying back and forth from the tiny international airport in St. Thomas to his helipad on Little St. James Island, a roughly 75-acre retreat a little over a mile, about 2 kilometres southeast of St. Thomas. Government documents and ledgers show that Little St. James Island was once known as Mingo Cay. In April 1998, a company called LSJ LLC bought it for $7.95 million. Additional documents show that Epstein is the sole member of LSJ, with his signature reminiscent of an infinity loop. It has been rumoured that Linda Wachsner and David Rockefeller have been clients too, but both parties deny any such relationship. What's more, who ever heard of a financial advisor turning down $500 million accounts? All the speculation and mystery has provided fertile ground for some alternative Jeffrey Epstein stories, the most bizarre of which has him playing the piano. He is classically trained for high rollers in a Manhattan piano bar in the mid-80s. Certain features of the temple raise even more questions. When Insider consulted James Both, a contractor and engineer based in Chicago, he first pointed to the wooden door. It's styled like what you might see on a castle, with what appears to be reinforced lock bars across the face. He said, "What makes it peculiar is that if you wanted to keep people out, the bar would be placed inside the building, but the locking bar appears to be placed on the outside, as if it were intended to lock people in." The smaller structure is significant if only because it could theoretically offer a second method of accessing or leaving the larger building, which in turn would suggest the presence of a hidden structure underneath it. This possibly has gained some currency among online conspiracy theorists, some of whom believe Epstein erected the building to serve as a secluded facility for abusing children. Others have floated the hypothesis that it conceals an elevator shaft, which in turn accesses a subterranean layer where the same abuse occurred. Both groups have referred to the building as the Temple. There is some evidence that a larger building and the smaller structures are related to one another. According to historical satellite imagery made available by Google Earth, both were constructed sometime between 2009 and 2013. In August 2009, nothing existed on the southwest corner of the island. By February 2013, however, both structures and newly widened paths leading to them were clearly visible from above. But both the Chicago contractor and engineer said the smaller structure looked less like a secret entrance and more like a cistern for storing or treating water, a necessity for bringing plumbing to the remote parts of the island. Another possibility, he added, was a small caretaker's shack, which might include equipment for maintaining the property. As for a secret elevator and lair, it is absolutely possible to install a dwelling and elevator underneath the structure. The main caveat, however, was privacy. If an elevator was built there, there would most likely be a record with the vendor who installed the elevator, as they typically require yearly maintenance and inspection. A simple stairwell would be a better option if someone wanted to conceal their activities at the location. all of the attention hasn't been uniformly conspiratorial. In 2017, the Twitter user The War Economy assembled what is likely the most comprehensive resource about Little St James, including the identities of several architects who helped design the island's buildings. However, those architects provided their services long before the temple-like buildings first appeared. According to Fox News, Epstein had a dedicated team of workers on the island who trafficked girls as young as 12 to his clients. To get there, Epstein would fly the underage girls into St. Thomas and then he would ferry them over to his private island via a boat named Lady Gishlin, one former employee told Bloomberg. Once on the island, the underage girls and women say they were coerced into sexual encounters and, in some cases, even held hostage. When she was in her 20s. Sarah Ransom, who claims Epstein instructed her to have sex with lawyer Alan Dershowitz, she said she tried to swim off the island, only to be found by a search party that included Epstein and his alleged Madame Ghislaine Maxwell. Dershowitz claims that he never met Ransom. She also said that they kept her passport so she couldn't leave. A ruthless tactic they allegedly used in an attempt to hold more than one victim against their will. In a 2015 defamation lawsuit filed against Maxwell, the house manager for one of Maxwell's close friends testified that a distraught 15-year-old Swedish girl told him that Maxwell had taken away her passport and tried to force her to have sex with Epstein while she was on the island. In a statement, a spokesperson for the former employee called this claim demonstrably false and defamatory. Permit records in the Virgin Islands revealed that Epstein was seeking a massive renovation to his estate on the island he owns, Little St James, complete with a new pool, spa and underground theatre. In the fall of 2007, during the same period, court documents show Epstein's legal team was in negotiations with federal prosecutors in Miami investigating him for preying on young girls who were recruited to give him sexual massages. The non-prosecution agreement they ultimately reached spared Epstein the prospect of spending several years in a federal prison. The deal has come under renewed scrutiny after Epstein was charged earlier this month with operating a sex trafficking ring in New York and Florida in the early 2000s. Please remember, these articles are a few years old now. According to the trove of newly unearthed permit records, Epstein's sights were set on his island compound where he was trying to dodge the federal indictment. I myself wouldn't be surprised if the whole island is covered in tunnels. Right there on the right you can see what looks like a cave leading underneath the whole structure there. Virginia Roberts, who claims to have been trafficked by Epstein, told her lawyers in a 2011 interview that she saw Clinton with two young girls on the island. I remember asking Jeffrey, "What's Bill Clinton doing here?" That kind of thing, and he laughed it off and said, "Well, he owes me a favour," Roberts told her lawyers. Clinton, however, has repeatedly denied the allegations through his spokesperson. President Clinton knows nothing about the terrible crimes Jeffrey Epstein pleaded guilty to in Florida some years ago, or those with which he has been recently charged in New York, Angela Urena said in a statement. He's not spoken to Epstein in well over a decade, and he has never been to Little St. James Island, Epstein's ranch in New Mexico, or his residence in Florida. I guess that's the same way that he never had sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky either. Per Bloomberg, Lex Wexner, chairman and CEO of L Brands Corporation, the parent company of Victoria's Secret, also spent time on the island on at least occasion, an employee told the outlet. Victoria's Secret models allegedly visited as well. Additionally, the former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak, told the Daily Beast that he had visited the island, though he explicitly said that he did not meet Epstein in the company of women or young girls. Most recently, Epstein bought a neighbouring island. In 2016, Epstein purchased the nearby Great St James Island, which is approximately 165 acres, for $18 million. This year he had begun construction on a compound there, despite a stop work order that had been in place since December. The compound was to feature an amphitheatre, an underwater office, and pool, according to the Virgin Islands Daily News. From the New York Post. Epstein, meanwhile, reportedly is building a compound on the 165-acre island of Great St James, which he purchased in 2016 for $18 million. He lives on the neighbouring Little St James. The project has been the subject of a stop work order since December, a spokesman for the Virgin Islands Department of Planning and Natural Resources told the Post. The spokesman confirmed that there has been unauthorised work on the island since the stop work order was issued. The Virgin Islands Daily News reports that Epstein used a shell company called Great St Jim LLC to purchase swath of Great St James and to apply to the Virgin Islands Department of Planning and Natural Resources to conduct work on the island. Epstein is building a complex of buildings on the island that include an amphitheatre, an underwater office, and pool, the Virgin Islands Daily News reports, in which will all be linked by a private road. What I wonder is, with Epstein being deceased now, who inherits all this? 2 islands, all of his businesses. Will it be Mark Epstein? We'll just have to wait and see. As always, if you like my work, please like, share and subscribe, and please consider joining my Patreon. I will be going through Jeffrey Epstein's little black book, naming all the important names. See you on the next one.